Meeting your twin flame can sound like this big romantic story about meeting the love of your life. And there's definitely an element of that to it. And I feel like it comes across like this when, like in the earlier stages of the journey, because we're not, it's difficult to explain this, and it's quite challenging to actually put into words what's happening, because it's almost beyond like the English language, it's beyond the mind's like understanding a lot of the times. So it can come across like, oh, I'm just so in love with this person and blah blah blah. And whilst that's true, that's detracting completely from what this is actually, the gift that this is actually bringing into your life. The twin flame process is about what that meeting that person has done for you internally, and I really want to get this across to people, that not to prove a point, I have nothing to prove, it's just that to try and turn people's focus from just being totally in love with this other person into how is that benefiting you, into finding yourself. And finding my twin, I found myself, which is what I was actually looking for. Or at least it catalysed a process into me finding myself. I'm still on that journey, and I guess in some ways that's never going to end, because we're on this like constant search for ourselves, if you like. But it definitely was what triggered that process to me really coming into my true self, coming into my truth, which was really what I was in search of. And another thing that I realised yesterday, which I know I need to talk about, is that I feel like a lot of the time our twins can trigger our deepest fears, like, and this is what keeps you apart a lot of the time. Like, and I didn't even realise some of the deepest fears, like, they're revealed to you over time. And our twins can often remind us of our parent, and like I said before, I've spoken a few times about healing the parental relationship and how important that is, and that's one of the gifts that they present to us. And I find it's actually like a Freudian theory that as children we can be sexually or romantically or whatever attracted to the parent of the opposite sex or the opposite energy. And I feel like this happened for me, and I'd put money on that it happened for my twin as well, because you always mirror each other. You're always like a mirror of like the polarity. So like what you experience, like say what I experienced with my dad or with the masculine energy, he will have experienced with his mum, or like the feminine energy, or the like. I feel like he carries a lot of feminine energy, so it might have been his mum that had the masculine energy, but regardless, it's the opposite of your energy. And I feel like that caused like deep psychological trauma, because I told myself that was wrong to feel that and to have that sort of emotional response towards my dad, and it's made me like almost amputate myself from my masculine energy, which I'm like gradually coming back into now. But I didn't realise that until recently, that it's it almost made me like totally cut off from that, and because of almost like deep psychological self-hatred for feeling that, like, and because that's, you tell yourself all these stories about that's not normal and stuff, but it's actually kind of is normal. And I'm not saying, I'm not like advocating incest or anything, like, but it's like, it's normal for children when you don't understand what's happening. And I feel like this is at the root of why both my twin and I are so afraid to feel. Like, we've actually deliberately put ourselves in situations and in relationships and in jobs and stuff that have made us not have an emotional response, because we associate having this emotional response to that childhood experience on a subconscious level. Like, it's not a conscious level. And I feel like whilst we're both like stepping towards our truth and stepping towards that feeling again, it's scary, and like we still do avoid it in some ways. I feel like a deep sense of contraction from him energetically a lot of the time, and I feel like this is probably partly where that comes from. So yeah, I just wanted to speak out about this and like almost give other people